Mgbe Jesu zutere Mata sị ya, onye nwe anyị, ọ bụrụ na ị nọ, nwanne m nwoke agaghị enwụ. All of us ask such questions in the face of tragedy. Where was God? And o nwere ndị na-ada n'ụka maka na ihe ike mere ha. Some people, after tragedy upon tragedy, not finding a coherent relationship between their worship of God and good fortune, they move away completely from God. Ebee ka Chukwu nọ mgbe eji ihe na-adakwasị mmadụ? Lord, where were you? The portion we read from the gospel does not tell us that Jesus knew ahead of time that Lazarus was sick, but waited until he died. The reason is unknown to us. Of course, he came when Lazarus had spent about 4 days in the tomb. After he had spent 4 days in the tomb, in order to show that by calling him up from the dead, he had powers to raise the dead. But why didn't he prevent him from dying in the first place? And ka anyị chetakwa, the Lazarus had them again to n'elu. All those whom Jesus raised from life on earth are no longer alive on earth. But Jesus was pointing to something beyond the resurrection of a dead person now. He was pointing to something beyond the grave. Your brother will live again. And Martha, because she had been brought up in the tradition of those who believed in the resurrection, yes, said, I know he will live again, he will rise again at the resurrection. And Jesus made this affirmation, I am the resurrection and the life. For the Pharisees and for people like Martha, mbilite n'ọnwụ bụ a promise. Nkwa ikwere ndị ezi omume, ma n'ime Jesu mbilite n'ọnwụ abụrụ fulfillment and reality. When we insert our life in the life of Christ, as he said in John chapter 15 and also in John chapter 6, we become one with him and his life becomes our life and his rising from the dead becomes reality for us, not just a promise. That is the great difference. Anyị na-ajụ kedebe Chukwu nọ mgbe eji ihe na-eme na ndụ anyị. We have to accept that some questions don't have clear answers. Just as there are so many questions around the death of Junior Pope. Too many questions, many of them without answers. But fundamentally, even if we found the answers to those questions, JohnPaul Junior Pope will not come out of that coffin today. So where do we go from here? It is not about finding rational explanations concerning death, especially sudden death. It is about being able to live in such a way as to express what we believe. Makada Jesus matter. Do you believe that? What we believe shapes our life. Omume anyị bụ ihe anyị kwenyere na-egosi ụdọrọ ndụ anyị na-ebu. Ọtụtụ ndụ anyị na-ebizi na Nigeria, n'ala Igbo, n'Igbo Nsụka taata, tụmadụ ndị otu Kristi na-egosi na ọ bụghị ihe anyị kwuru na anyị kwenyere bụ anyị kwenyere. It is said, it was reported that while Junior Pope was going out for that venture, he was asked to pour libation. And he refused. No medidero okwukwe. Some will say, and as a result, he died. I don't know whether all those who died in that accident, if it is proven that it was an accident, I don't know whether all of them who died were those who did not pour libation. Whether or not, one thing is clear. Me pour libation, me pour libation. Me jireneha jegbeha, me jegneha. Me jirenenke didia, me jegnenke didia. Me jerukwotogu, me natacharo riri, me jegu. Me bo night, me na wogu. Me bo nimroha, me na jagbeha. The end is the same. The end is the same. I don't know if you conduct a census of Igbo Christians today who firmly believe in the teachings of Christ and the church and don't go back to Igbo, if you conduct a census, I don't know whether you will get up to 50% of Christians who believe that Jesus is the resurrection and the life. And then no Jesus. Many of those listening to me here, now go, now garros, now beha, but mengoro at 190, mengoro at 43. No wrong with her labor. The next one is, how did you die? In whom did you die? Is it not interesting that anybody made baptism, no matter the type of life, onye made baptism, make confirmation, nato riri, boyakukonoka, boro na ukwe, boro night of St. Mulumba, night of St. John, papal night, lady auxiliary, lady grand lady. Oja buchari ha hili. Jegwogdog, jegogdemma, jegbagdeha. Manongo. If you prefer Igbo Harosi na egwu ọgwụ, onye nweghị ndụ nwere n'ọnwụ. Why do you insist, or why do your people insist on coming back to perform rituals you never believed in while you were alive? Because we know where the truth is, but we don't have the courage to accept it, to admit it. We, as Christians, believe that Christ is the resurrection and the life. Even if things are happening in our lives that we don't understand, we remain firm.